Motorcycles have always been exciting to watch on the silver screen. Whether you're a rider or not, watching a two-wheeled fire-breathing monster race through a crowded city or evade an army of black SUVs makes for an edge-of-your-seat kind of adventure. In no particular order, here are ROKKIT's top 10 motorcycle scenes on the big screen. Skyfall. I've been a Bond fan long before I ever understood the unending double entendres that today would have most likely got good old Jimmy in a lot of trouble. In this scene, Bond takes riding to a whole new level, literally. Instead of just racing through the streets, they up the ante by having Bond race across the rooftops of an overly crowded old-world city. I was on the edge of my seat watching James thread the needle by riding along an extremely narrow roof, jumping from building to building. Besides being absolutely breathtaking stunt work, the shots themselves are equally beautiful. John Wick 3. If I could describe this scene in one word, it would be absolutely friggin' ridiculously awesome. And yeah, it's more than one word, but that's just how cool this scene is. Sure, it's a little over the top, but that's what makes this scene so crazy. The fact that Keanu is a hardcore rider in real life just makes this scene so much more cool in my opinion. If you don't agree with this pick, you can speak with my manager. All you have to do is ask. The Dark Knight. Go ahead, admit it. There have been at least a few times in your life where you approached your gear hanging in the garage and you kind of felt like Batman. It's okay. It's just us here. You can trust me. When The Dark Knight came out in 2008, there were so many things that made it epic. But for us riders, there was yet another reason. When Batman transformed his wrecked ride into a Batcycle, there were audible cheers in the theater. This bike is so badass, if I saw it in the mirror, I think I'd surrender just to take a closer look at it. Matrix Reloaded. He's beginning to believe. While some of the shots are clearly the product of the special effects department, it still blows my mind by how nerve-wracking these shots are, even today. They take one of the most beautiful motorcycles of all time and shoot it off the front of a semi. Then they whiz it past vehicles like they were mere pylons, missing oncoming cars by millimeters while being shot at, from what I can only assume are albino Jamaicans? Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Growing up, I was a huge Indy fan. While this particular movie wasn't my favorite of the series, it definitely had one of the coolest motorcycle chases. I can't really say what was so cool about it. It wasn't the most death-defying on this list, but it had something that the others don't. In the sidecar was Indy's father, none other than Sean Connery himself. It was cool to see how the prim and proper father figure showed glimmers of amazement with his son's antics. I mean, who doesn't love a little father-son time? The scene ends with one of the most intense stoppies in movie history. Night and Day. Say what you will about the personal life of Tom Cruise, but this guy is fearless. Like Keanu, he has a serious passion for bikes, and that's no bull. In this scene, Tom is paired up with Cameron Diaz, and they're being chased by the bad guys. What I liked about this movie was that Cameron does more than just scream and act completely helpless, like a lot of other movies in this genre. Operation Condor. Jackie Chan is known around the world for his unbelievable stunts. In this movie, he gets to ride a tricked-out dirt bike while wearing some sweet wraparound sunglasses. Hey, it was the 90s. It was cool back then. Of course, the obligatory bad guys in their black cars are chasing Jackie down. You would think they would learn by now that it won't end well for them, but some people never learn. Terminator 2. This scene may have been single-handedly responsible for the majority of sales of the Harley-Davidson Fat Boy. In reality, there is no way this bike would have survived that kind of jump, but it still has one of the coolest scenes in any Terminator movie. Not only was this scene nail-bitingly intense, I equally enjoyed the scenes where John Connor is ripping around the inner city with his dirt bike to go to the arcade. The Great Escape. This scene has got to be on every true rider's list. In the movie The Great Escape, one of the coolest men ever to have lived, Steve McQueen, is trying to escape from a Nazi prison camp during the war. Loosely based on a true story, it's a 10-year-old boy's dream. I mean, come on, building a secret tunnel with your buds, and then jumping giant barbed wire fences on a motorbike. I mean, what else could you ask for? Tron Legacy. Sure, the bikes here are fake, but the feeling they gave us is very real. If you haven't seen the movies, imagine that you have somehow been transported into a video game. What are simple pixels to us is a world filled with living, breathing people who play life and death games every day. The bikes of Tron are unmistakable. The goal of the main character is to surround the other rider into a space they can't escape. The walls of light emitted by each bike makes this scene an absolute visual masterpiece. I so want to be able to run and jump onto a light bike that appears from nowhere. So Elon, get on it, buddy. So that's ROKKIT's list of the top 10 motorcycle scenes on the big screen. But this is more than just a video. This is a discussion. If you disagree with this list or you think there should have been others that I could have added, feel free to put them in the comments down below. There's always room for more motorcycle footage in my book. If you're not subscribed, be sure to do so as well as click the like button. It really does help the channel. And until then, I'll see you out there.